Guys, welcome back to the channel. Once again, we are back to another video. And I must say, this is a reaction video. I react on maybe some news or some video or just some things that I hear people talking about that I want to put out here for you guys to comment on. Guys, we're not here to quarrel, but we are here to criticize and analyze. We are a respectful channel. So guys, I really do appreciate you coming here. If this is your first time here, kindly make sure you subscribe. And if this is not your first time here and you had not subscribed, guys, tell me, what are you waiting for? Anyway, now, today we're going to dive into a really challenging and often emotional charged question because Jamaica is supposed to be a country full of a lot of Christian people, but sometimes when you hear people say some things, you have to wonder if they don't just take it a little bit too far. And one of the things when me hear people say a lot, and me want to know, is God punishing Jamaica with the high crime rates? And this is a question that resonates deeply, especially for those with faith. And it is important to approach it with respect and a willingness to explore different viewpoints. We are going to act as debaters today, examining arguments for and against this idea. And hopefully, you'll come away with a broader understanding of the complexities involved. After you come in and, give a 2 cents, tell me what you think. Because to a lot of people who are non-Christians, and even some people who are Christians, they just don't believe that God is punishing Jamaica. And this is why, because I hear it so many times, this is why I say, you know what? This is a point for maybe bring here for a debate. So let's start by exploring the perspective that could lead someone to believe this. This viewpoint often stems from a traditional interpretation of religion and of religious text, particularly in the Old Testament, where God is depicted as intervening in human affairs, including bringing judgment upon nations of communities for them actions. And this is based solely on the Old Testament. Now, some religious interpretations emphasize, say, God holds societies accountable for their collective behavior, particularly widespread sin and moral decay, while some people say every sin a sin, and it based on people's interpretation of religion. Now, if a society experiences significant social problems like high crime, some might see this as a consequence of strain from divine principles. They might point to passages that describe God's judgment on communities that engage in practices considered sinful. So, while not directly about Jamaica, you could mention how biblical narratives like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah are sometimes cited as examples of divine judgment and wickedness. Crucially emphasizing this is an interpretation that and not a direct statement about Jamaica. So, some might also argue that while God is loving, there are still consequences for human choices, both individual and collective. High crime could be seen as a natural consequence of societal breakdown, and some might interpret this breakdown as a result of people turning away from God's guidance. Because I don't know if you remember, there was a time when Easter was so holy that everything shut down on Good Friday. Now, when a community is suffering, it's natural for people to ask why. Some base it on politics, some blame the government, some blame parents, and for those with faith, a religious explanation can sometimes provide a framework for understanding, for making them feel good, justification, even if it's a difficult one. The idea of divine punishment, while harsh, can sometimes be an attempt to make sense of inexplicable suffering. So, when people are suffer on a personal level, usually them turn to Christianity, them turn to God. And the same goes when the crime happen, them figure say, boy, if me turn to religion, if me turn to God, it will make me feel better and give me hope that one day things will change. Now let's strongly challenge the idea that God is causing the crime as a punishment. This is where your initial points about God's nature and the reality of crime is one in other countries. In other countries come to play. Now, as you rightfully pointed out, many religious traditions, including Christianity, emphasizes God's love, mercy, and forgiveness. The idea of God who actively causes widespread suffering and crime as a punishment for an entire nation seems incompatible with this core belief. Why would he turn around and punish people? It don't make no sense. But you can't tell these people. You see, you cannot debate or communicate with, certain people. Their beliefs are so strong. There are two things, religion and politics, where sometimes it's better for you to just keep your mouth shut. Instead of causing crime, a loving God would more likely offer opportunities for redemption, guidance, and support during difficult times. This is my belief anyway, that it's not a punishment. God would have done the opposite. Now, attributing crimes to divine punishment can be deeply harmful. It can blame innocent victims and perpetuate the idea that a nation is inherent wicked, which is a dangerous generalization. It also shifts responsibility away from the complex societal, economic, and historical factors and contribute to crime. So sitting down and say God causing it and nobody tried to figure out a way to solve it is just going to compound the crime and make it get worse and worse every day. You cannot fold your hand and pray alone. You have to do something about it. Crime is a multifaceted issue with roots in poverty, inequality, lack of opportunity, historical injustices, and other societal problems. Focusing on solely on divine punishment ignores these real world causes. You can't say a punishment, but yet still, inequality is still there, poverty is still there, lack of opportunity is still there, injustices is still there. Now, other countries experience high crime rates, sometimes even higher than Jamaica. And I'm sure you will agree with me on that. And if God were punishing nations based on wickedness, wouldn't we expect to see a direct correlation between perceived wickedness and crime rates globally? This doesn't seem to hold true. This suggests that crime is more closely linked to human factors and societal conditions than to divine intervention as a form of punishment. And we need to get this out of our head. Say God is punishing the country and God has punished the people. Me tired to hear it. Many religious traditions emphasize human free will. Individuals make choices and those choices have consequences. Crime is largely a result of human actions and decisions, not a direct act from God. Some people on here might not agree with me, but this is how I feel. While faith can influence behavior, the responsibility for criminal act lies with the individual who commit them. People who have strong faith, now they go commit crime. But at the same time, we have to look at it that God is not punishing anybody. So based on what I'm saying now, can we definitely say God is punishing Jamaica with crime? From a theological standpoint, emphasizing God's love and mercy, and from a practical standpoint, recognizing the complex human factors behind crime, it's very difficult to support the idea that God is causing the suffering as a punishment, and people need to get that out of them head. Oh God, Jamaica people too wicked, and this is why this happen. People tap go to church, and this is why this happen. No, no, it has nothing to do with that God is punishing people. While some interpretations of faith might lead people to consider divine judgment, a more widely acceptable understanding of God emphasizes love, mercy, and the importance of human responsibility. Attributing crime solely to divine punishment oversimplifies a complex issue that it can be harmful by blaming victims and ignoring the real world cause of crime. The presence of crime in many countries around the world suggests that human factors and societal conditions are the primary drivers, not divine intervention as a form of punishment. Me not die of a preach, I'm not here to preach, but somebody said this to me just a few days ago, and I said, you know what? I'm going to really do a YouTube about this thing, because people why they keep saying that God a punish Jamaica because the people them too wicked. It's much deeper. God is not punishing anyone. Instead of focusing on whether God is punishing Jamaica, perhaps a more constructive approach is to ask, how can we as individuals and as a society work together to address the roots of causes of crime? How can faith communities play a role in promoting peace, justice, and positive change? The church them need to get more involved. How can we support those affected by crime and work towards healing and reconciliation instead of sitting down there and jumping all over the place and blaming God for what God has not been done? These are the questions that can lead to real solutions and a more positive future. What are your thoughts? Do you agree or disagree with these points? Let me know in the comments below. Let's continue this important conversation. And if you found this decision insightful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more debates on challenging topics. Not necessarily about this, because this is not a religious channel. This is not a political channel. This is a channel where I criticize, I analyze, and I comment on it. Maintain a respectful and empathetic tone throughout. This is a sensitive topic, and this is what I am trying to do, and I hope that may not really offend anybody. So, anyway, guys, as me say, give this video a like and I will see you back here on my next YouTube video.